Hey everybody, Daryl and Holly with Exquisite Exotics here. Holly's behind the camera today. We're in the incubator room today, so a different room. We get a lot of questions on how we set up our ball python eggs, so we just want to do a quick video showing you how we set ours up. A quick disclaimer, everybody sets theirs up a little differently. Your incubator might be different than ours. All the typical disclaimers of get your information from more than one place, don't just trust us. This is just how we do it, and this is what works for us. So let's go down to the table here and show you what we have set up. So the first thing we have here, this is a 12-quart iris tub. You don't need to use a 12-quart tub. Smaller tubs will work. In fact, we're probably going to switch different tub sizes eventually, but right now these are working really well for us. They give us lots of space for our eggs, and we have a ton of space in our incubator, so it's not an issue. What we're going to do first is you're going to have to go buy yourself some this might be called egg crate by some people. It's also light diffuser. If you go and ask for plastic white squared light diffuser at like Home Depot or Lowe's, they should be able to point you in the right direction. We want to cut this to size, and we want to cut this to a size where when it sits in the tub, you have about an inch or maybe a little over an inch and a half of space left for you to put vermiculite in. So your size of your egg crate is going to be sized for your tub. And then we actually use two pieces together, and then we use zip ties to hold it together. We like to give just that little bit more space between where the eggs are actually sitting and where the vermiculite or water is, because you don't want your eggs sitting in water, and we tend to use a little more water in the bottom, and I'll get to that. So we use an extra thick thing of egg crate, 2 pieces thick. So then what you're going to do is you're going to have to figure out how much vermiculite you need to put in your tub to get that spacing at the bottom where when you put down your egg crate, you basically want your egg crate, can you see inside, Holly? Mm-hmm. You basically want your egg crate touching on all sides. What we try to avoid for us personally is space for the animals to get around the egg crate or an egg to roll and get around the egg crate. So we want the egg crate basically touching on all sides is our goal. So when it's touching on all sides, that's the size we're shooting for, and that's how much vermiculite we need. The first time you do this, you're going to kind of have to figure out how much vermiculite that is, and then make yourself a note, because once you figure out what that quantity of vermiculite is, you can just reuse that every time. So for us, we have written down how much vermiculite we need to use for this size tub to get it where the egg crate sits on top of the vermiculite and also is touching or almost touching on all the sides. So that number of how much vermiculite you're going to need to use is going to be different based on how much vermiculite you're using, how big your piece of egg crate is, how big your tub is. So I can't tell you what you need there, just tell you kind of the dimensions. So to set it up, what we're going to do here is we take and put the volume of vermiculite we need, and our vermiculite we keep in our incubator, so it's already up to the correct temperature for the babies. So we're assuming we got a clutch of eggs, we need to throw together a box for them. So we're going to put preheated vermiculite from the incubator into a tub. We actually just keep an extra tub like this of vermiculite in our incubator at all times. You're going to weigh out how much vermiculite that is. Ounces, grams, whatever you use is fine. And then to that vermiculite, you're going to also add water. We need to add an equal amount by weight of water to the vermiculite to start. Once you get that water again is like our vermiculite. We keep it in our incubator. So once we have our water in there that's already heated and our vermiculite that's already heated, we'll go ahead and mix that up, and then we tend to add a little extra water. What you can do is you can add enough water till you just see a little bit of water at the bottom of your vermiculite. You don't want your water coming up above your vermiculite. You don't want your egg sitting in it, but we do like to see a little bit of water at the bottom. So we start with a 1-to-1 mixture and then add extra so that we see a little bit of water at the bottom of the tub so that you can make sure that you get a real high humidity inside the tub. So we now have heated vermiculite, heated water, all sitting inside our tub. We'll throw our egg crate on top. We're going to put our clutch eggs in there. We don't have a clutch right now, but we put our clutch eggs in there. We'd mark the tops so that we can make sure that nothing rolls around. If you want to help prevent your eggs from rolling, we use this really simple thing, golf tees, plastic golf tees. The reason we use plastic ones instead of like wood ones is plastic, isn't going to absorb water to any extent that it matters. Some people, if there's any other engineers in the room, you'll know that like PVC does is slightly absorb plastic, but now we're getting real scientific. So To the extent it matters, this plastic isn't going to absorb any water, so you don't have to worry about water transferring up your golf tee onto your egg and causing any molding issues. So I recommend against using wooden golf tees. I know some people do, but I prefer to use plastic ones. But you can put in tees.
And also sustainability, because we've been reusing these for a few seasons now.
That's true. These are, we just clean them and reuse them. But you can put golf tees if you have eggs and you don't want them to roll, just put a tee in and keep the eggs from rolling. So we use those. Once we have our eggs in, our golf tees to make sure anything doesn't roll around, we take Glad press and seal. We will cover the entire top, press and seal it around the edge. What's important when we do that is we want to make sure that press and seal is flat. If you have ripples in your press and seal, that's just creating the opportunity to have a low or high spot where condensation is going to gather and want to drip down your egg. So you want that to be as flat as you possibly can. Once you have your nice flat thing of press and seal on, you just pop on your lid, and in the incubator they go. And that's our whole process. But the things that we probably do different from other people that maybe isn't as common, we do use a little more water in our vermiculite. Most people just use that 1-to-1 ratio. And that ratio is perfect if you want to actually incubate your eggs in the vermiculite. But we're not doing that here, so it doesn't matter if we have some extra water. And I'd say the other thing we do that is maybe a little different than what some people are doing. Some people just store their vermiculite and water in the room. But if we're getting a clutch of eggs that are already at, the mom is sitting on them, so they're already warm, and then they're going in a warm incubator, we like to keep them as warm as possible throughout the entire process. So we use pre-warmed water and vermiculite. And for our water, we have an RO system here in our house that we use, so it's RO water, but you could use distilled water, RO water. I would tend to want to use super clean water if you're going to keep it in your incubator for a while. Bottled water, distilled water, anything like that, if you don't have a way to get it filtered yourself, is better than probably using tap water if it's going to be water that's sitting long term. So that's it. Holly? I'm looking at Holly behind the camera.
No, I think you did really good. I will say that I recommend, and I not even recommend, I really highly say do the press and seal Glad. Because if you just buy regular saran wrap style, it's not going to seal around the edges. And honestly, that press and seal keeps resealing when we lift it up to check on them and maybe wipe away excess condensation or whatever we have to open it for, give them oxygen, something like that. And it reseals. So just as a thing, don't look at it and go, well, that's the expensive stuff that you guys are using, so we're just going to buy the 99-cent store one. I mean, I understand that, and we kind of would like that to do that too, but this way it actually seals in, which is what you want.
Yeah, we've tried that too. We've tried some of the cheaper stuff when we first started, and it does not work as good as the Glad press and seal. So if you find something that does, fantastic for you, but for us, that's a winner.
That's all.
Anything else?
No. Make sure you write who your mama is and your approximate hatch date on there too, because if you start getting multiple clutches and you just start putting them in an incubator, you're not going to know. So the last thing we do is we write down the female that laid and the lay date and an approximate hatch date. So when we open the incubator, we know which ones we're checking on. Yeah,
and we create a clutch card as well, a little index card with a whole bunch more information, like how many eggs, how many were good, how many were fertile, her ovulation, her shed date, pre-lay shed date, all this stuff, so that we can kind of learn how our girls cycle through. So all that information, anytime you can collect information, that's always good. But yeah, you do at least need to know what clutch of eggs you're looking at.
Otherwise, everything's a surprise.
Yeah. All right. Anything else, Holly?
Nope, that's it.
All right, guys, that's it for today's video. Like, comment, subscribe, all the YouTube stuff. I know we have a separate AC system down here, so if you heard that in the background, I apologize for it, but no way around that. So hope you all have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye, everybody.
Take care.